Hello and welcome for race 2, round 1. We're currently in the warm-up session, just about to tick over. We had an action-packed first race where Johnny, well, he walked away from everybody, but throughout the field behind him there was, well, it was just mayhem, to be honest. So it'll be interesting to see, obviously race 2 being a reverse grid, where Johnny will end up and the likes of some of the other fast guys end up, and obviously some of the slower guys if they can actually hold on at the front. So who are you guys? Obviously, before I get to that, sorry, we've been joined by Jamie Snow.
How are we, guys?
Very well.
Very good.
That's the way.
So moving on, obviously you've got a reverse grid here, but who are you guys looking at to see, well, who's going to stay out in front or hold on, or who's going to make their way through the field the best, do you reckon? Like, what do you guys see from this race?
Well, I can't pick a winner really because I think Johnny would have the pace, but he's got the fastest guys are around him, so he's got to make his way through them quickly. But the guys at the back of the field, it really depends on how much they fight each other. I think we saw huge battles between Matt and Brent and Will Devonish, and Cracker was involved. So if they all hold each other up while Johnny's making his way through the field, that gives Johnny the best chance. But I think Brenton Foley may be placed pretty well. I'll go out on a limb and pick Brenton Foley.
So I'll be looking for a good result from old Scruff in this race, Matt Williams. He's starting in 4th place. That's he's already right up the front there. Yes, he does have Cracker to get through, but he'll be after a bit of redemption after his race 1, I think.
Well, certainly, obviously, I think we're going to see that battle continue throughout, and it's going to be interesting when the faster guys come up to that battle, because I don't see them separating again. And obviously, with these faster guys coming through, will they be able to get through that battle safely and continue through? But before we move on to that, we'll go through the grid for race 2. We've got Gary Neville, Shredded Wheat Racing, not pole position, but first. Cracker, second. The Big Dog is in 3rd. Scruff, Matt Williams, 4th. Brendan Ross, another one to look out for, I reckon, is in 5th. Jaden Draper, another quick racer, as we've seen so far, 6th. Aussie. Will Devonish and Cameron is in 9th position. Brenton Foley, 10th. Heath Dixon, 11th. Hopefully he's got enough fuel this time. Lewis Kugeley, 12th position. Dwayne Davies, 13th in the Ford Focus. Our winner in race 1, Johnny. Mike Coulston has joined us for race 2 after having internet connection issues in the first race. And Glenn Miles. And we've also got a Randy Lucas Center in here, but he will be booted in a moment.
Yes, Lucas Center, not someone we're familiar with, didn't sign up for this one, and not a name I've seen before, so makes sense why we would boot him then, because he's not part of the group.
Something tells me he's not Australian.
Well, the safety car's in, so we're about to get a start fairly shortly. So all eyes turn to Gary Neville. What kind of a start can he get?
We'll just go to that momentarily. We'll go to the start, and then I'll have to, unfortunately, sort of block the stream as I put in some admin commands. But they're all maintaining that 100 kilometers an hour, and we're racing. Gary's got a good start.
Cracker was caught sleeping. Big Dog's up into 2nd place. Brendan Ross right up behind him.
Ross will be... Well, I was going to say he's looking to move up, but Big Dog, he's got a massive slipstream. It's once again, we're 5 wide in the midfield.
Oh, Big Dog's trying to go around the outside here, but he's gone way deep. And we've got a few cars wide at turn 1 there. Big Dog's going to lose positions here. He's out onto the grass there. Oh, he's kept it onto the circuit back, but he's being swamped by the field below, and he's dropped way back.
He's
had a collision there.
A massive collision. There's
Matt Williams involved, and there's another car involved. There's another yellow car. We've got cars all over the place.
And more, there's more incidents everywhere. Dwayne Davies around the back. Big Dog.
Well, I'll try and go back and see what happened while you follow the race.
Dwayne Davies is missing a rear wing. Foley is 13th. Matt Williams is missing a rear wing. And we've got more. Johnny and Glenn Miles are off. So move up through the field.
It was Matt Williams.
Oh, and Gary Neville's
Draper.
been punted by Brendan Ross at the chicane. Something tells me there might be 1 or 2 penalties after this race.
Yeah, it was an ugly incident there. It was a bit of a chain reaction. One of the things you see, Kugeley, Cameron, Ozzy, Williams, they were all involved, and it was all started off with Williams and I've forgotten the other guy's name. Anyway, they got involved. It was Draper, I beg your pardon, and Williams got involved, and that triggered the train reaction. Foley was very unlucky. Would have got the surprise of his life when he was coming around the hairpin to see Williams coming towards him, and that'd be big damage, I imagine, for him.
Yeah, and in all that, Will Devonish has emerged leading lap 1. We've got Cracker in P2. Dixon, Heath Dixon, he's up all the way up to P3, so I think he'd be, obviously with the pace he's shown so far, he's probably the favourite for this race, but he's got to get past Devonish, who is not easy to pass. And
well, our race winner for race 1, Johnny, is in the pits, so he must have got involved with the first lap carnage. Williams is in the pits, Foley is in the pits, so my prediction prior to the race has already gone up in smoke, and Dwayne Davies in as well.
Yeah, Davies has got significant panel damage on that car. We had Williams did not have a rear wing, and I don't believe there was another car. Yes, Davies doesn't have a rear wing either.
Well, we might catch our breath now, because I guess we were kind of expecting that with our first foray into reverse grids with AMS Oz, but maybe not to that extent.
Yeah, it was a bit crazy there.
So Will Devonish leads the way from Cracker, Heath Dixon 3rd, Mike Coulson 4th, Gary Neville down to 5th, and Lucas Senna in 6th place currently, but I don't know if that will remain the case if he's getting booted from the server.
Well, something I'm trying to figure out right now.
Will Devonish, Cracker's just set a 33, but Will Devonish was doing a 35, and they're all coming out. Cracker's making a move up on Will Devonish for the lead of the race as we speak, and nicely done by Cracker. And they're all coming along trying to fight each other with cars coming out of the pit. So we've already got 4 cars a lap down, and that includes Johnny, Foley, Williams, and Davies. Big Dog is DNF'd, and Matt Williams has a drive-through penalty, so it must have been a pit lane speeding infringement for Scruff.
Brenton Foley's got himself a drive-through penalty as well.
Oh no, so...
I don't think many
not good.
It's an interesting pit lane. I don't think anybody's practiced it, because obviously pit stops aren't required, so I think they've probably just gone in way too hot, and they've just driven over the line by a considerable margin, because normally it'd just be a drive-through, but being a stop-go, that is quite hefty.
Well, we saw Gary Neville got a couple of drive-throughs in the... we've got, I think, someone around. No, Cracker looked like he was about to go around, but he's held on to it. Is the line in a confusing spot, perhaps? Because we saw Gary Neville got a couple of drive-throughs in the first race.
Certainly. Well, we've got a big train at the front. It's starting to form with Cracker, Devonish, and Dixon, as we see one of the Hondas in the background. I think it's Johnny.
Well, Dixon's latched onto the back of Devonish there. He took a full second out of them in that sector.
Johnny's in for his drive-through penalty.
Johnny got one too, so
yeah,
dearie me. Not good for the race winner in race 1. Our fortunes can change, but we've got now Heath Dixon looking up the inside of Will Devonish at turn 1.
And looks like he's got that. He's done that well, but he's been hit up
but
the
Devonish
back.
has gone straight into the back of him, and that is Heath Dixon. Well, he's only lost the 1 position out of that. Johnny's got another drive-through penalty there, so this pit lane speed limit issue is catching them out quite a number of times now, so that's a big penalty. So Heath Dixon in that's lost out to Mike Coulston.
I think with that incident, I think we'll probably see a penalty for that, because he's just driven straight into the back of him.
Yes, he's not accounted for the fact that Heath was there, so not ideal, not great driving from Will Devonish there. Just looking at his onboard as we speak, he should have been. He was well aware that Heath Dixon was in fact, he had the move done. He just
Well, you
He
can't.
just didn't account for the fact that the car in front of him was there.
You can't. You can't miss a big red painted car. So just obviously wanted to try and get the switch back on and just gunned it, and it's just gone straight to the back of him, unfortunately.
Cold comfort for Heath at the moment. He's lost the position, trying to make it back on Mike Coulston there, but he's pretty close. He's still with a pretty good shout of winning this race with a fair bit of racing to go, and looking to make the move on Coulston up into turn 1 here. I think he should get this job done, and then he's still only 4 seconds off the lead.
Well, that's the move. Obviously, he pulled off the last lap. He'll be hoping not to get rear-ended this time, and he's got it done. So looks like he'll be going for round 2 probably in a lap's time, and he'll be hoping again not to get rear-ended.
Oh, Brendan Ross is around there in 6th place there at turn 1, just onto the grass, recovers it back to the track, but he's lost the position to Lewis Kugerly there.
He's steadily made his way up. Kugerly finds himself in P6, up 6 spots.
And so Lewis Kugerly is another man who could be favoured for a victory if the guys in front fall off the track. Gary Neville, who finished, I think in the end it was 2 laps down in race 1, is the next man up on track for him, about 4 seconds ahead. So
Gary Neville, actually one of our rookie cup drivers, and he's actually come along in leaps and bounds over the last probably 3 or 4 races he's done. Big improvement from him, and being able to hold on to 5th place with such a stacked field is quite an achievement for him.
Absolutely. He's done his best lap round the previous lap, so pretty strong showing from him to stay in the top 5 with nearly 10 minutes of this race completed.
And we've seen Heath Dixon just set the fastest lap, which is a bit down on obviously race 1, 32.1, but that's still 1.6 faster than Devonish, and 8 tenths faster than Cracker in P1.
I think he's got the red mist in his eyes now. He's definitely got him in his sights.
Yep, as we see Aussie having a go at Cameron, as Cameron runs a bit wide, and Aussie will take that place.
Cracker's got a bit of a break now. Will Devonish was not able to stay with him once Cracker made that move. 3 seconds clear is Cracker, so question will be if Heath clears Will, when he does, or I think it's more of a matter of when rather than if, given the pace advantage he seems to have. Will he catch up to Cracker, and how quickly?
Well, he's still got 16 minutes left. That's still a fair amount of time. But yeah, Cracker has to, I think, make the most of this clear running that he's got now, and Devonish behind him, because I think Will's a bit faster than him, so he's got to obviously utilise Will Devonish being in P2 as much as he can.
Well, he's absolutely nailed to the back of Will Devonish out of the final corner there, and he's got an excellent run. It's a carbon copy of what happened last time. Heath will be having flashbacks to the previous time. Will Devonish will be hopefully trying to avoid a repeat of the last time these two collided.
Well, his fastest lap of the race, that lap to Heath Dixon, 32 dead. And this time he's not being rear-ended, so
they're through safely.
But there's still a couple corners where he could get drilled.
Well, yeah, Will could have a look up the inside here, and Heath has not covered the line, but he's able to outbrake Will Devonish and holds on, but he's certainly not letting him go, and all of that would be music to the ears of Cracker. It's a 3.1 second advantage that hasn't really grown or shrunk in the last lap.
Oh, as we see Dixon lock up a bit, and that's given Devonish a chance into the chicane. But he's got a better exit, so it'd have to be a massive dive bomb for Devonish to pull an overtake off from there.
Well, he's got the pace. They both set their best laps of the race on the previous occasion, and Heath was a full second faster than Will, so he has the pace if he can just break clear.
And that's what we saw, I think, in the GT3 racing, as Dwayne Davies sets the fastest lap well down the field after the first lap accident. We saw that obviously in the GT3s last night, where drivers just couldn't get away from one another, and we just saw big big battles throughout the race, with the slipstream playing a massive role in that a slightly faster car couldn't get away, as the slipstream would keep the car behind just in reach.
With the little bit of testing I've personally done in these cars too, they do get quite the tow down the main straight here, so definitely makes it hard to break away when you do start to battle.
It's an interesting point, but he seems to have broken him now. He's about a second clear of Will Devonish at the moment.
He was still he set a 32.6 on that lap, but that Dixon, but that was still 9/10 faster than Devonish, so he had quite a bit of time in hand there, even despite losing time passing him.
Yeah, losing time and passing him, and Cracker last time out of 32.3, so he dropped a couple of tenths to Heath, but Heath dropped a couple of tenths to Cracker, but not as much as you might expect, given he passed a car doing that.
Certainly, I think Cracker on that lap set a PB, so he's going to need to keep that up if he wants to, obviously retain the lead, with Heath Dixon being quite quick.
But he's not a risk taker, Heath Dixon. He's happy to sit in behind someone and wait for them to make a mistake. I think it comes from a lot of iRacing experience from Heath Dixon. Got a pretty good safety rating, so that's a strategy that he employs in these races too.
Yeah, I think anybody that has any experience with iRacing probably gets Vietnam-style flashbacks and PTSD from X4s from being re-rendered at places like Monza. So
yep.
it does teach good habits to try and keep it clean, and he's done so in this race, and well, he's in great position early on in the championship with Johnny well down the field, and obviously he's in P2 after his fourth place in the first race.
Well, Gary Neville is still in fifth. Lewis Kugley is catching up to him gradually, but it's not happening in huge leaps and bounds. It should be in the next lap or so, though. I think Kugley will be on the tail or as Gary locks up. And it may come sooner, but just looking down the order there, they've got a huge gap over Brendan Ross in 7th place. Cameron and Aussie are going at it hammer and tongs.
Ross has gone round. Ross has gone round, so he's gonna. Well, he has lost position to
so
Aussie.
Put paid to that one.
So the moment we bring him up and he's gone round.
Case of the commentator's curse. So he's still about 10 seconds clear of Jaden Draper there. Glenn Miles another 10 seconds back there. The last man on the lead lap, and then
said Johnny tried to unlap himself. He set the fastest lap a couple of laps ago, Johnny. He set a 31.3, I believe.
Yes, he did, and that was his best lap. And last time out, 31.5, so consistently back in those 31s.
Oh, and had Cameron go wide off at the chicane, and then he's been rear-ended as he rejoined.
And there's a wheel missing. There's a wheel missing there from Aussie.
That's Aussie's front left, so that's a dangerous rejoin there from Cameron, which I suspect will probably see a penalty for that. And that's given Ross those positions back, as we've got Kugley side by side with Neville, and he takes the place into turn 1.
I don't know what Cameron was thinking there. He just came straight out onto the track without any awareness. So Aussie's race completely ruined in an instant there, and not great driving from Cameron, it has to be said. No,
it's certainly not anything you want to see. Just coming straight on the track like that, just no regard for anyone else on the track.
Well, the gap at the front doesn't seem to be coming down as quickly as we might have expected after Heath got past Devonish there. It's still, in fact, Heath made a mistake, I think, because as I'm looking at it, it's gone from... Yeah, I was just looking at the timing screens. It went from 2.5 seconds to nearly 3.5 just while I was looking at it, so that explains that. So Heath Dixon, well, he's got enough time left, but whether or not he's got the consistency to catch up and then pass Cracker for the victory remains to be seen.
Well, as we saw in the first race, Cracker, he does battle very hard. So it won't be an easy overtake even if he does close up onto the back of him. But even after that mistake in the middle sector there, he closed the gap down by 0.3. So the gap's down to 3 seconds. So he's closing. And Mike
Well,
Coulston's done a great job. He's up into 4th place.
Lewis Kugley in all of that, while we're busy looking at that dangerous rejoin from Cameron there, Lewis Kugley did make the position up on Gary Neville, but Neville still with a pretty handy advantage over Brendan Ross. The 6th would be a pretty solid finish for him.
Certainly would. He's had a quiet race, but he's done what he has to do. Obviously, this is, you know, a rookie it's come in. He's not done too much racing, and he's kept his nose clean. And obviously 6th place, he's got some really quick guys in front of him in Kugley and Dixon. And he's keeping other guys out like Ross, who's made a few mistakes, and Draper behind. So he's doing a fantastic job there in P6.
Definitely
Absolutely.
impressed. He's kept himself out of trouble, stayed consistent. All he needs to do.
And I think as we go through this championship, I think consistency is going to be the big thing, because as much as I think some people will probably complain with the reverse grids after the horrendous start we had here, is that it's here to stay, and it's going to be something where people are just going to have to learn to just be a little bit more patient on that first lap, and those that remain consistent throughout the season and avoid those early lap troubles with slower cars or faster cars, they're going to be the ones rewarded with a good, obviously, finishing position in the championship.
Exactly right. You certainly don't win it on the first lap, but you can sure as hell lose it. And you can see now that, I mean, the 2 of the guys who are a lap down are in the 31s at the moment. No one on the lead lap has done a 31. I say at the moment they're in the
Kugley's
32s.
done a 31, but certainly no one in the
I
top.
beg your pardon, he has 2. Yes, a 31.8 for him.
No one and he's the only one on the lead lap that set one. So,
but their pace doing 31s at the or at low 32s now is not doing them any good because they're a lap down. Not to say that they're at fault. I think they got caught up in that by no fault of their own. But what goes around comes around with these sorts of things, and if everyone learns to drive a little bit more patiently on the first lap, then these things won't happen. But to be expected, I suppose, in the first race.
Yeah, obviously there's a big mix of experience and speed that I think a lot of these guys sort of aren't quite used to, and especially on the first lap, where you got some people that are really aggressive on that first lap, and you get some people that are tentative, and that's always a bit of a, well, it can lead to a bit of trouble. As we see, Coulston has also done a really good job. He's on the back of Devonish now for the last podium spot.
You know, Will's not going to give that place up without a fight there. And Kugley's sort of got a watching brief there. If they trip over each other, could potentially stand to gain 2 spots.
Yeah, well, as we've seen so far, it's not easy to pass into turn 1, but he's having a look.
Oh, he's having a bit of a look there, but there's no way that Devonish was going to cede that one. Sorry, go on.
He did leave a little bit more room this time, but that's given Kugley a little bit more space on him here.
So a cracking fight there for the 3rd place, the final position on the podium. And he's just chipping a little bit of a...
Coulston's run wide there, Coulston's run wide, and it's given Kugley a really good chance to overtake, and he takes it.
Takes it with both hands, and Will Devonish with a bit of breathing space now. He can just try and think about his own lines for a lap or 2 until they catch back up. We'll be hoping that they engage in a fight that takes time out of each other. But I think Lewis just may well be. Well, he's as we touched on earlier, he's the only one out of that top group who's done a 31. So he does have the raw speed.
Certainly does. So obviously he's probably not going to be able to catch. You know, should he get past Devonish, he's not going to have time to catch Dixon. So it's all going to be up to...
Dixon's taken a full second out of Cracker on the previous time around. Cracker did a 33.1, and Dixon matched his best lap of the race. So Dixon... And
looking at live timing, there is no traffic around them, so that must have just been a mistake from Cracker on that lap.
And combined with Heath picking his pace up, because he was starting to slow a bit. He mentioned between the races that his tyres were pretty shot after a few laps, so he may well have made some changes that have increased his tyre life, or maybe he was just nursing his tyres. It has to be said, Cracker has been managing the gap pretty well for the majority of this race, but maybe the tyre life just starting to get to him. He hasn't won a race as a Pro B runner. Heath has, so nerves may well be a factor as well.
Certainly, so it's never easy. I don't know if Cracker's won many races online or anything like that, but if it's his first time, generally there's a bit of nerves flying about. As we look at Kugley, he's now having a look at Dixon. Well, not Dixon, at Devonish.
We're at Devonish, and Devonish has gone wide, and Kugley's almost followed him.
They've both run wide, and that's given Coulston a good shot, but Kugley's got the good run out of the chicane. On the grass.
They're going to go side by side, and Coulston will get a better run out of both of them. He doesn't know which one to haul the slipstream off of, but he's going to get past Will Devonish, I think. He probably won't get it off of Kugley.
No, he decides to back out, and that was smart. He backed out of it. He didn't want to force it there, and he's going to have a good run down into turn 1. But the problem is that Devonish is going to have the slipstream. Oh, no, he's not, and Devonish has moved over.
Oh, my goodness.
And ran into Coulston. That is 100% Devonish's fault. Obviously, Kugley moved over. Coulston has no rear wing. He's in a bit of trouble there. I think he's going to retire. Devonish looks like he's got massive suspension problems.
Well, that's surely a penalty. You can't just move over when there was a car next to you. It's a bit like Seb Vettel and Webber in 2010 at Turkey, but without the team taking the person who's actually at fault's side on the matter. But anyway, I'm not still bitter. It's all of that has promoted. Well, Kugley is now pretty comfortably in podium position. Will Devonish, with a bit of damage, is probably going to lose that 4th place to Gary Neville.
It looks like he's crabbing. He's got a puncture, or his suspension's bent, and he's crabbing quite badly. But Ross has caught up to the back of Neville. But yeah, going back to that incident, it's like if there's a brick wall down a straight, do you turn into the brick wall? I mean, that's what. And
then do you blame the brick wall?
And then do you blame the brick wall? Because obviously he wanted to keep the slipstream, but there was a car there, so you can't move over quite like that, and that's unfortunately ruined both their races when.
Yeah, Will's gone off here, and he's going to lose the position to Gary Neville, who has Brendan Ross for company now, so that's all tightened up a little bit, and Johnny trying to unlap himself behind them. So I don't know if Gary's had a mistake somewhere. Potentially, he has actually. He's done a 149.
Ross goes on the grass to try and pass Devonish's stricken and broken Toyota Corolla.
Well, Devonish has gone to the pits. In order to be classified, you have to be running at the end of the race. So I wonder if he will try and repair the damage and just get back out onto the track so that he's still classified and pick up some points, because we've got a number of cars a lap down and some even 2 laps down. So there's still points to be had here. But this battle with Gary Neville in 4th place is all of a sudden very hot because Brendan Ross is all over the back of him and Draper behind him.
Draper has closed in a bit, but Ross, he does look significantly faster than Gary. And it's going to be a really good test to see where, obviously, Gary Neville's at, as he goes a little bit defensive there.
Well, Gary did lose a lot of time on, I think it was the previous lap. He did a 149, so it was a comfortable gap he had to Ross, and he's lost a lot of that gap in one go, and Johnny is all over the back of these guys. It's a difficult situation
Ross
for him.
Ross has given him a nudge, and that's...
it's always the danger.
And he's rejoined dangerously, and he's been hit by Draper. He's going to be talking to after this race, I think.
So the stewards are going to be very busy. Yeah, the stewards are going to be very busy after tonight's round. So all of the results that we see tonight will be provisional, because I fear we've got penalties hanging over the heads potentially of Will Devonish, Cameron Costa, Gary Neville, potentially. They'll all be under investigation.
I believe Gary Neville's actually redressed that position to Draper. So even though obviously he was a bit naughty rejoining the track, he's given the position up. So probably saved himself from getting a penalty for that. Probably just get a warning.
Well done. Good awareness from Gary Neville. Will Devonish rejoins the circuit, and he's still in 9th place. He's a lap down. He rejoins just ahead of Johnny. So it just goes to show that the laps these guys were pumping out were not completely in vain, because it's put them in with a chance of getting 9th place off of Will Devonish. Cracker seems to have broken the spirit of Will Devonish. That's a nearly 5-second advantage now, so he's done a splendid job at the top of the field.
Cracker in these last few laps, he's picked his pace up and has been in the low 32s, and that's obviously, with that gap he got early on in the race, that sort of helped him take this victory as he crosses or exits the final turn. I believe this, I don't know if this is the final lap or if this is to win the race. No, so this is the final lap.
Final lap of the race for Cracker. You can see Heath Dixon in the background. He doesn't have anyone behind him challenging for 2nd place. It should be a pretty comfortable 2nd place for him.
And
I don't see Cracker throwing this one away.
Well, we've got Will Devonish, Johnny, Foley all battling for 9th place a lap down. So we'll watch that for a moment and see where that goes. But yes, Cracker, obviously, he's done a great race so far. Kept it
Will
clean.
hanging onto it for now, but
Johnny's
onto the grass there, and Will is not going to let him back on.
He's going
down
fast.
the middle of the straight.
That is, this can't end well.
It can't end well.
It's given Foley a great run on Johnny, and Johnny has to go defensive. Foley's going to go for the overtake.
And Brendan Ross is behind, trying to unlap himself in 4th, or trying to lap them all in 4th place. So they're all getting blue flags as well.
We'll just move up to... unfortunately, we're going to have to move up to Cracker to watch him cross the finish line. But we'll have to quickly go back to that battle.
We will, but Cracker has done an amazing job out front. He's kept his nose clean, and that's how you win a reverse grid race.
Yep. Keep your nose clean and be nice and consistent on the road. And Cracker wins race 2, round 1 at Goiania.
Heath Dixon has got enough fuel to finish 2nd. 7 seconds adrift in the end. Lewis Kugley will finish a distant 3rd. And a 30-second gap behind Brendan Ross, with Devonish and co crashing out of it. And that battle for 9th is absolutely...
ballistic.
Going down to the wire. Will Devonish has hung on to it, so Johnny has gone down to 11th, losing the place to Brenton Foley. And it doesn't look like he'll be able to retake that position.
Yeah, that's going to be the... Oh, that said, Devonish ran a little bit wide there, but that's alright. So, yep, Devonish will finish 9th, Foley 10th, Johnny recovers to 11th, and Dwayne Davies 12th. Should he not make a mistake. Matt Williams 13th is our last finisher.
So Mike Coulston, Aussie, Big Dog, our retirees, will not be scoring any points in this race.
So I think that obviously was trying to work out if it. Well, at Automobilista Australia, I believe it's Cracker's first win. I don't know if he's won anywhere else. So it's good to see a first-time winner. Obviously, we saw Johnny get a win in the first race and Cracker get a win in the second. Obviously, this race is probably marred a bit by that first lap. It sort of ruined what battles we could have had.
But even so, we did have some marvellous battles throughout that. One of the things that is a factor here is with the faster guys trying to overtake the slower guys, that they just have to expect that the slower guys may well be braking a bit earlier in some of the corners. And we saw a bit of that happening towards the end of that race with some of the, I think, Gary Neville getting rear-ended towards the late stages of that race.
Yeah, that's it. I think obviously with related is with the World Endurance Championship that we will be running coming up, we're going to have cars that are significantly faster with LMP and GT cars. So I think it's going to teach some of these drivers that will be driving the LMP cars that you have to drive a different way around cars that are slower. And then even then, it's just going to teach first lap awareness. Okay, you can put your car in a certain position and you'll get rear-ended or you'll rear-end someone else. And it'll teach people to hopefully just be a little bit more conservative and a bit smarter with how they go about things.
Absolutely.
But
Well, we've got Johnny in the. We've got Heathy in the box here. Great second place for you there. It looks like you had the pace to win it at some stage, but just the relentless pace from Cracker, he kept he edged it out in the end from you.
Yeah, I got to within about 2.5 seconds of him at one point, and he made a comment about his tyres starting to go off. And I said, well, that's all right. My fuel's going to be close to zero come the end, so we'll see what happens. And then all of a sudden, he just, I don't know, they came back to him, he said. And he just started pulling away. So, I mean, well done. But I don't know where that came from.
There you go. So obviously that would have been music to your ears when he said there may be a bit of gamesmanship for him from you.
Could have been, yeah, and well played to him. But it did give me a little bit of hope. But then I was like I mentioned, I was looking at the fuel situation, thinking, oh, jeez.
Well, did you? So you were close on fuel again, even after running out the first race.
Well, look, I'll let you into a little secret. I thought to myself, all right, I'm going to be coming through the pack, I imagine. So I'm going to be going a little bit slower behind some people. I'm going to not use as much fuel as last race. I'm not going to add any more. I'm just going to run with the same amount of fuel again. And obviously, first lap, dog's breakfast, and I've come out in fourth at the end of it. And I thought, oh, okay, well, so much for saving some fuel for a few laps behind some slower people.
Yes,
So I was fuel saving from about lap 3 onwards in that race.
speaking of that first lap, did you actually see? Obviously, there was multiple incidents. Did you see what exactly happened at the start there with all those incidents?
I didn't know. I saw cars to the left of me, cars to the right, and just go facing in every which direction. And I just counted myself lucky that I managed to not hit anybody or get hit. But yeah, I couldn't tell you who hit who, where, and when. I'm sorry.
Well, it's worked out for you because I can tell you that you are currently leading the championship on 34 points from
ripper.
Lewis Kugeley on 32 points. So 2-point advantage over him. Johnny Kirkham on 30 points in third place. And our other race winner, Cracker, in fourth place, 27 points.
That's excellent. I'll take a screenshot of that and treasure it. I can't imagine I'll be at top at any other point of the season.
Well, you seem to start seasons well. That's a trend we see with you.
Yeah, and we won't mention the rest of the season.
Well, speaking of Lewis Kugeley, he has jumped into TV time. So, Lewis, you've had obviously a couple races there where you've ended up not starting in the greatest of positions, but you've ended up finishing in a couple solid positions at the end there.
Yeah, hey guys. Yeah, it wasn't too bad. First race, I changed car at the last minute, sort of getting used to the sim. So I ended up qualifying fourth or fifth and ended up at the back. Had a decent pace, got to a podium, and same again. I got caught up in that turn one incident though, or not lap one incident, which was pretty scary. But yeah, pace was all right, so it was good fun.
With that first lap incident, did you see what happened? Because all we saw was just cars and smoke everywhere.
Well, what happened was go past turn one outside the kink. It was a couple of cars 3 wide. I was out wide. I was trying to stay wide to avoid it, sort of the concertina effect in the middle of the corner. And one car, I think a Renault, spun out in front, and then from there, I think they made contact, and then I was trying to brake and slow down, and I ended up in the grass. So there was a few cars that were taken out after that incident.
Fair enough. So obviously, you had decent pace in both races. Do you think you're a little bit frustrated with your qualifying performance, considering how fast you were?
Well, yeah, like I said, I qualified fourth, but I re-entered in a different car, which was silly on me. So I had to start at the back of the grid in race one. I was pretty happy with the third in race one, but yeah. And then apart from that accident, I had decent pace in race two. So it's good to have some decent pace at a track like this. I only jumped in about half an hour before the start and got quite used to it. But they're fun cars to drive, and it was good, clean racing, which was fun.
That's good to hear. Obviously, we saw you run just the one round in the Rookie Cup. Are you planning on running any more races? Obviously, in this touring car series.
At the moment, as long as I don't have to work, so I generally work at nights, any sort of free time, I split between this and iRacing. So I'll be jumping on when I get the night off because it's really good fun, really well organised, and good, hard, clean racing.
Thanks for that. And well, we've also been joined by, well, we've got Cameron, Brenton Foley, and Dwayne Davies. Cameron, obviously you've unmuted yourself first. What did you see of? Well, how'd your two races go? Because obviously we didn't speak to you after that first race.
Yeah, race one was pretty good. Obviously, I think it was a bit of an unknown for everyone how the tyres would go, and I think sort of everyone was sort of trying to play their own game and just manage it and try and get through the end of the race. So I think I'm not sure about everyone else, but I think the front left tyre was a big issue around here. So obviously the wear was quite high, and I was just trying to be consistent early on, and I think the guys in front might have had probably a little bit better setup than what I was running, and just managed to pull away. So I just kept it consistent and got to the finish. So, and then race two was a bit of a shambles. Yeah, probably something I think needs to be looked at is on the rolling starts. Really, everyone should be pushed up in behind each other, so then there's no run-ups, because I don't know whether you guys caught on the stream, but I think Will Devonish just got a massive run, and I think he overtook myself and two others before the control line. So yeah, apart from that, it was a bit hectic mayhem down to the turn one, and then I survived all that and coming down to the kink there, and just I'm not sure whether I had a little bit of understeer. I didn't feel that I did, but yeah, obviously Big Dog just turned it a bit sharp and come across me, and there was chaos everywhere.
Well, it is something, obviously, as we continue to run each series to look at, so it will be something that we talk about in future rounds. How did you obviously find the cars to drive, considering they're completely different to anything else we've run?
Yeah, I quite enjoyed it. It's quite a good challenge. I have driven those, I think, in the standalone game that was released a year or so ago, but obviously they've probably been changed and developed a bit more. So, but yeah, in terms of doing that, yeah, it was quite fun. But yeah, it's going to be a pretty tightly contested series. There's battles everywhere up and down the field, so it'll be good.
Yeah, that was certainly. I think me and Stairs can definitely test that we struggled to keep up with all the action up and down the field. Obviously, Dwayne, got you in the box. Obviously, you had some decent pace tonight. How did you find both your races?
Yeah, first one went well. I don't think I could. My tyre pressure was a bit wrong, I think, in the first race, so I just couldn't keep up with Johnny. But yeah, almost ran out of fuel, but had enough. And then second race, obviously, caught up in God knows what happened there, and someone came back on in turn three, and I ran straight smack into the middle of him. And that was it for me, really. And then I couldn't get into my pit because Johnny was in there, and I was right in front of him, and I just couldn't turn the car. So it went pear-shaped from there for me.
It was a bit of a shame, but obviously in practice and in qualifying, you had some decent pace. We'll be hopefully looking to rectify that in the next round, which I can't remember the name of. But
Velo Park.
Yeah, Velo Park. Yep, short little 1 minute lap time, so that'll be a very interesting circuit.
Yeah, definitely. It felt good. I didn't change anything, but it felt pretty good. So I think I'll just keep it as it is, except I'd set the brake lights, obviously. But yeah, it felt good.
That's good to hear. And we've also been joined by Brenton Foley, who had, well, a couple interesting races.
I'm interested to hear from him. Did you get the fright of your life when you were coming around the hairpin and you saw
quite a lot? I saw it was two separate incidents, and I saw pretty much all of it, to be honest. So behind me, I don't know who, a Civic and a Renault got together, and they were spinning out. And then in front of me, I think it was Jaden got into the back of Scruff, and obviously that caused some carnage, and Scruff was in the infield, obviously couldn't pull it up. I was halfway through the hairpin and got a Toyota into the front corner of my Toyota. So that wasn't ideal. I was surprised it wasn't total, to be honest, because it was a big hit, but I managed to get it back and just kind of rolled around for the rest of the race. Had a really good battle with Johnny and someone else, I can't remember who, right at the end. is pretty good. But
Yeah,
other than that, was pretty eventless.
we did pick that up that last few laps for, well, you're all a lap down, but battling like it was the last race for a championship win there.
Pretty much. After you do about 10 laps by yourself, isn't exciting when you finally get to a battle you want to get in front.
Yes, that's it. I don't have much else to add. Is there anything you want to ask Snowy or Stairs?
Well, I think we've we've covered all. There's a lot of people here. We'd be here all night if we interviewed all of them. So please forgive us if we don't get to you. But we'll probably just stick to the podium getters. We haven't got our
Okay.
other
Yes.
podium getters in here, I think. But we've spoken to Heath and Dwayne and Lewis. We haven't got Johnny in here, but I'd say congratulations to our winners and podium getters today, and to all the guys. It's been a great start to this season, so I'm looking forward to the rest of it.
It certainly has. Obviously, we've had a couple first-time winners, which is what we're after. Really, we have a couple different names thrown about. We've had guys like Gary Neville come up and have a decent result. So hopefully we see all these different names throughout the season just get some good results, and hopefully we get a really good championship.
Yeah, definitely. We've had chaos, we've had carnage, we've had some good drives from people we're not used to seeing up the front. So if tonight's anything to go by, it's going to be a very exciting series, that's for sure.
Certainly, it's going to be very exciting and I think chaotic after those two races. Very chaotic season. So thanks, guys, for obviously the good racing. Thanks to Stairs and Jamie in the second race for helping me out the commentary box. And we will see you at Velo Park round 2 next Monday. And that's it.
Good job.
Very nice.
These guys are fun.
Excellent work again, guys.
They look
Very
like it.
cool.
That was mental.
That incident was chaos, to be honest. That was completely my
That
fault.
was
That whole
disgusting.
lot was absolutely mental.
Try
Is
to...
is William in here right now? I want to fucking
Will.
apologise.
Yeah,
You mean
Williams.
Scruff? Williams, yeah, Scruff.
Yeah. So
Yeah, he is.
sorry, man. I fucking should have looked better at that move. Completely sorry about that.
I swear Will did it in the first race as well. Like, no offense, but I'm pretty sure he did it because he got a run, and
He may have got a run, but I feel like you actually missed the start because I got you as well, and I timed it. I was going as fast as everyone else.
yeah, but see, I was behind Aussie, and I got a run on him, and I checked up because I knew that you're not meant to pass before the start of the control line. So I had actually tapped the brake in that first race, and just to make sure I didn't pass Aussie. But yeah, I don't know what's going on, but Will, yeah, I think in the general chat he was muted or something, but he was red there, so I don't know what's going on, but whether he knew what.
We'll
I might have
the
to look at it
rules
again,
were.
but it looked normal to me.
Either way, look, I'll go over. I'll watch when I get time.
Well, I mean, it's like a good thing, to like. Obviously, it's new, so everyone's learning and all that sort of stuff. So it's fair enough. You're gonna have teething problems and that sort of thing. So,
Alright then. See you guys later.
See you, mate.
See you, mate.
Yeah, dude.
so
Yeah, it's a learning experience, obviously, for us trying to, brief everybody and get everybody on the same page. And then at the
The
same...
worry would be if it started getting worse, or we had the same kinds of incidents happening again and again and again.
Yeah.
So we learned
That's what
from.
we've got.
was-
I honestly think there needs to be some penalties and stuff like that just to wake some people up.
I think today there
Dude,
should be some penalties
look,
handed out from what I saw from some people.
There's I know there is obviously Will's in here as another admin, but I think I'll be taking some executive decisions and just I won't even go to waiting for people to be reported. It's just going to be there'll be a couple of penalties just straight.
Because some people don't report Like they're too polite or whatever.
Well,
If they get stuffed over by someone, they might not
I've
report
said
it.
to
So
people, like, I've had people say something happened in their race, and then I go, well, report it, because then we'll look at it, and they're like, oh no, I don't want to report it. It's like,
I get them
It's-
after every fucking race.
it's like,
But fucking report it. I'm not doing shit if that's not public.
yeah. And then sometimes we might not know about it. So,
should there be an anonymous reporting system, maybe?
well, that's what I'd like. I'd like it. I don't want, like, in Discord, for example. I'd like the I don't know if
Cameron,
you
you're
can.
echoing.
Oh, sorry.
I don't know if you can do it in Discord, but I'd like it in the steward's room, where if someone posted something of an incident, their name wouldn't come up, or other people couldn't see it.
I wonder
I
if
think
there's a way
that's
to do
what's
that.
holding people back.
Yeah, I do
Because-
too.
Because obviously, when someone goes in there and puts a report in, everybody can see it straight away.
Yeah.
So
And it feels like you're dobbing when really it's just like,
yeah.
you know,
So
you shouldn't have to feel bad about reporting someone if they've ruined your race.
That's the thing though. If you've been involved in an incident, there's going to be two sides. So I think,
Yeah.
just sort of lump it. Really, you've been involved in an incident. If you're at fault or if you're not,
Yeah. And I've said
tough titties.
And I've said to people, look, the driving standard will not get any better if incidents don't get reported, because we won't,
Yeah,
we
that's right.
won't, or we can't penalise people because we don't know what's happened. So
Yeah,
it's
if I see him like on the stream or something, like for GT3, like Webb and Johnny last night, he got a penalty because we saw it. If we don't see it, we can't do anything about it. If you don't tell us about it, we can't see it.
yeah,
But Johnny didn't report it, because it got caught on the stream. That's
Yeah, that's
the
what
reason
I'm
it
saying. Like,
Yeah.
that's the only real way we have of knowing about it, unless we've got like pretty much one person for every driver watching the whole race.
Yeah. So the thing is,
You
you're more
can't-
likely
You
to have
can't really do that.
you have more
Well, you can
chance of this
detect
being
sarcasm,
poor if
yeah.
it happens at the start of the, like if it's at the front of the field when the stream is catching it. But if it's
Like losing 5 spots before the fucking line, that was good.
if it
Yeah.
happens further down the field, you're still equally entitled to have it looked at. But just because it didn't get caught on the screen,
Yeah, that's it. But yeah, I get what you guys are saying. There should be an anonymous way to do it, and yeah, I'm not clued up in all that too well. So
well, we could
We could-
try
we
like
could have
Google
like a-
Forms or something.
yeah, we could have like a steward's email or something where it's like, yeah,
Well,
report it. No one else will know about it, but yeah.
I was actually just thinking. I don't know if any. I know Brock uses Google Drive and that, but you could have like a form or something, so that it's completely anonymous, and you just post, and then I don't know how you'd link the video or whatever, but yeah, you can just post.
If you've got video
post,
that you can
well,
link it.
you don't need video. All you need is the replay file and the time and the lap.
Yeah,
That's all you need. But
it's true.
how I'd like, obviously, when I get time, I'd have a look at all of them. So for me, if someone just sends me an incident, I'll go and look at it. I've got the replays, but to do that, I guess people are going to have to send their replay, because we don't have a dedicated server. Sometimes if we go and have a look at a replay, all we see is just cars lagging everywhere.
Yeah.
So obviously,
The replay file. Oh, sorry, I thought I was muted. The replay file isn't big. Like they could always just attach the replay file to
Yeah.
the message they send you or something.
Yeah, that's it.
Don't you have to export that replay file though?
No. It saves it. If you want to save a video of it, you export it. But there's another file that gets saved in your user data that has all the replays. It's under
Replay fridge.
Yeah,
replay
Documents automated list to
Yeah.
user your whatever profile you're using. Oh, that's the other thing.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So
I wanted to mention something when this is done.
yeah, go on.
But go on.
No, I've got nothing now. So
No, sorry.
Just
So just shut it
looking
down.
it up, you can't do an anonymous Discord, but
Uh,
a Google form would be a good idea and way to do it, and I can help
Yeah.
make that. It'd be pretty simple.
Well,
Yeah,
Google
they're pretty
Form
And you
will
can do
just-
that anonymously.
A Google Form will just send a message to one of us on if we're not involved, just send
Yeah.
one of us a message and the replay file, and it'll be looked at. Obviously,
Yeah. Well, for example, the example Heathy's got would have one because you got hit in the second race.
yeah.
Yeah,
But that was by my teammate, so I'm not sure I want to report that. I got by him again. It's fine.
Fair enough.
I was gonna say the incident I had with Aussie, I did like apologise straight away, but because I went deep. I don't know whether you caught it on the stream
Yeah,
or
that
not,
was
but
pretty unsafe rejoin, to be fair.
yeah, I'd come down because it was like a hill, and I thought, well, I can't go around the side of the hill because I might get stuck in that ditch drain bit. So I just come straight down the hill, and then I just completely lost my surroundings, like where Aussie was and all that. And yeah, I probably should have just stayed on the grass and gone around the corner.
Yeah, you're gonna try and join the track at a shallower angle, because yeah, that was like you went perpendicular to the track.
Yeah.
You had nowhere to go.
Or even line yourself up before you come back on. So I generally just give up another 5 seconds to make sure it's safe.
If I didn't know any better, I thought you would have been aiming at him, put it that way.
Nah, I wouldn't do that, dude.
I know you wouldn't do it, but that's how bad it was.
That's what it looked like, yeah.
Yeah, I know. I mean, if he was in front of me and I'd gone straight off, fair enough. But yeah, because he was behind me.
Also, I think if anyone's got issues with others, don't fucking keep it up in Discord, in the chat.
I get so many complaints about that after every round.
About what?
What, people whinging about others?
Crapping on Discord throughout races and people trying to concentrate. Every
people
round, it's
comment-
like,
People commentate.
that's why I don't go in there. If people
It's not-
commentating or endlessly
Yeah, I was in the
complaining or
TV
just
time
talking
chat,
shit-
and these people kept talking about the race that I was having.
Oh, they're the worst. Hey,
On that note, I've got to get out of here, peoples. I'll talk to you all soon.
Alright, see
Have
you,
a
mate.
good one,
The
Jamie.
voice chat,
See
the
you,
voice
mate.
chat for the race should be purely for like passing and things like that. It shouldn't be self-commentary.
Yeah, maybe.
From what
Push
I'm
to
getting,
talk
people
or
are
something.
friggin' talking about,
James,
what pattern they friggin' shaved their pubes this week.
Pretty much, yeah.
It's like, fucking get out of the fucking Discord if you're gonna just crap on the whole time.
Anti-clockwise spirals.
Who the fuck talked about that, Scruff? Jesus Christ. Fucking weird to talk about that during a race.
But any other time, it's pretty normal.
I'm just thinking maybe you should stop talking about it during races then.
During races is the qualifier there.
I
And
can't remember why
qualifying
it.
especially.
Yeah. Oh, qualifying. Yeah. I can't remember why it was brought up, but a few of us thought maybe it's a good idea for those who are racing to have like your name, like create a profile with your name so we know who you are.
I've been criticising
most
the
people have that
nicknames
now.
for so long.
So,
Pretty much since
Go
the
on.
broadcast started.
so,
Yeah, well,
so what do you mean?
I
So
was
you
gonna-
have like the same name in Discord as what you have in game.
No, like
Either that or like in the game, like you can hit tab and you can have the names come up so you can see who's in front of you without having to check
Yeah.
your things on the side. And it's just
yeah.
we thought maybe it might be a good idea if your name in game was your name so we know who you are.
not
Well,
Like I said,
not a
I
fake
can't remember
name.
why it came up. It sounded like a good idea at the time, but I'm struggling
like
to remember why it came up.
Like
guy,
your
like,
first name and your last name.
Yeah. Well, I was gonna say because when I made my Discord, it was like Xbox stuff and that, so it was my gamer tag, and I just modified my gamer tag in my I modified my name on Discord and did the same thing in AMS, so that way you guys know who's who, sort of thing. So I mean maybe the Discord and your
in-game thing.
AMS name would be would work alright if you didn't already have your name in game and in Discord sort of thing. But
I'm just struggling to remember why it became a thing.
I think it was just
Like,
because it
because
looked more
nicknames
professional
look-
with normal names.
Nicknames make
We're
it
trying
look
to
so
be-
fucking shit on the stream.
Like, I don't know if anyone
Yeah.
watched what Brock put up about him being interviewed on the radio. Like, it sounded friggin' awesome. And we're trying to be professional, and then we have nicknames.
Yeah, agreed.
The only one that's acceptable is if the commentators get on board and every time he comes on stream, they go, Big Dog!
Big dude. Yes.
yeah, I was gonna say
This
for
is
example,
awkward because
like,
I'm actually just a nickname.
That's
I was-
the only
I was-
time it's acceptable
So
is
you're-
if you say it like that. Otherwise, you've got to change it.
Oh, every time I see that name, it's Big Dog.
Big dog.
Big dog.
I carted with him for about 2 years, and every single time I turned a corner and he was there. Big Dog!
What's your name? I feel like I started doing that. I didn't even have your influence with that.
Oh,
Nah,
it
what-
was there, trust me.
What I
That's
was going to say was,
Oh yeah.
You can't even
yeah.
remember, it's obviously important. Alright, next
Yeah.
topic.
Maybe Big Dog should just put his like first name
Big
in.
Dog!
No, his name is Big Dog. He's the only one except it is Big Dog.
No,
It
the
is
issue
not
we have
changing.
is that he doesn't have a space between big and dog.
Yeah.
Oh.
That's because it's Big Dog.
What if
dog.
there is no space between the big and dog? Then he's
That's
bang
how
on.
much of a big dog he is. He doesn't give a shit.
He doesn't care for
He's
no
not a-
space.
Maybe it's just his
He-
first
he-
name. His last
He's
name is
not a big
large
dog.
canine.
He's Big Dog.
Big dog, piss on
Anyway.
a rug.
So what's the calendar? So we go Valet Park next. Is it the 2010 version
No.
or the?
It's the longer one.
Ah, yeah, yep. And then after that is.
It's all in the events tab.
CUR. I put as the
yeah.
initial. I don't
Oh.
remember which circuit that is.
Curitiba?
Curitiba, it'd be.
Yeah, and that's the long version. It's not the one with like 4 corners.
Sorry, I'm just fucking going back down. Valet Park, Curitiba, and then and then Salvador. At least we're finishing at a street circuit. That'll be good.
Nah,
Are we
there's more tracks than that. That's only I had that's half the calendar. It's because I don't know when like Brock's setting up the Rookie Cup again, and then like
Ah,
he's
yeah,
got
yeah,
to
yeah,
sort
yeah,
out
yeah,
that.
yeah.
So, what is I don't know what the obviously when the dates will be, but I have got a list of the
Valet
circuits.
Park.
Are you just keeping it with in-game circuits?
Yeah, they're all everything's stock.
Sick.
Everything's stock. So
Love it.
I did.
Yeah, Curitiba long.
Oh, don't tell me I deleted it. I might have deleted.
So is Curitiba long? Is that the outer circuit, or is it just with the?
It'd be the
I just
longer of the
assume
two.
it-
It's the one that has an
Yeah.
infield section.
Ah, yeah, yep.
I think I've got it. I'll try and find where I've got it. I know there's 2 street tracks which are going to be fucking chaos with the way that race went.
Oh, I hope
Yeah,
Ribeiro
Salvador.
Preto is one of them.
Oh, Ribeiro Prado.
Yeah.
Fuck Ribeiro
Please.
Prado.
That is. that is
Does this have
cancer.
safety cars?
Yeah.
Well, no,
Yeah.
it does?
I don't
How
know.
did we not
I-
trigger
no,
one
no, no,
tonight?
No. I don't know if they get called. I don't know if they get called.
Oh, okay.
Just gonna say because
Well-
we did a race in Ribeiro Prado and the safety car crashed into me
That,
coming out of the pit lane.
That
You might
the
have-
crash at whatever turn it is, turn 4, the hairpin. No one was actually stationary, so that's probably why it didn't come out.
Like
Like, everyone was still
What's his
moving.
name lost his wheel after Cameron ran into him. He was there like 3 laps and he was stopped.
Mm.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and there was no safety
Oh, okay.
car. So I think
Oh,
the
I was
threshold.
stopped.
I
I
think
was stopped on the infield there as well.
I think the threshold is it generally triggers when a car's stopped on the track, but and that car was
Yeah.
stopped on the track. So I think the threshold is just really low, or they just don't have it. But
I think it's pretty low set.
Might be more likely on a sorry, Dwayne. Might be more
Maybe-
likely on a street circuit.
Maybe if we create our own series thing and just copy the vehicle files.
If you're going to keep it like this, it's a waste
nah,
of
I don't
time.
want to. I don't. The only thing I want to do, I don't want to add any series files or anything. I just want to have it. So if someone has a livery, chuck it in or put it in a pack. Everybody download it. Done. I don't want to have to
Yeah.
change series stuff.
Can
It
we-
doesn't need to be changed.
Yeah, it's stock
We
content.
need a password for it. but
It's
Yes.
as you said, it's a learning / enjoyment kind of series,
Yeah.
not one that you need to take
Yeah,
super seriously.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
just want people that maybe new, some rookies to come along that don't need to download anything. People that just want to
Yeah.
come along and race, just to come in and just have some fun.
Oh,
Except
is it
Senna's.
possible?
No more centers, please.
Maybe we need a password on the server.
No, that has been discussed. That has been discussed, and I think in future that will be happening.
What was I going to say? Yeah. Well, is it possible maybe just to play with? Can we edit the series file or not?
No.
We'd have to create a new one. Otherwise,
Yeah.
Just keep it as is.
Safety cars are overrated.
They slow it
Look,
down,
if,
and they
if, look,
just like.
if it was desperate,
25-minute race.
yeah, it'd sort of kill it. But that said, like, because I'm going to be adminning the entire series, I'll be there unless something comes up. Look, if something really bad happens, like at the street track, I can just manually throw a yellow flag.
Okay, you can
I
push it.
can, and I can call it back in. It just needs a lap race, but I will only do that sparingly. So, if at all. So
now, would you guys be able to? One of you guys be able to give me a hand with setting up this port forwarding shit, so I can like
Just
if I
Google
want
it.
to do
There's
shit
a
with
million
Jade.
guides on Google.
Yeah,
It depends on your router as well.
Yeah, it's different for everyone.
And your ISP.
You just put it, Google your router, your ISP, and how to do it, and it's all there.
Because I've got I think it was a Netcom NF10 or something from Aussie Broadband. So I did ring them and I say, look, I need to set up port forwarding and this sort of shit. And he,
Just Google me.
They don't like you doing that.
Yeah.
Just Google it. There's a million guides out there.
Griff, where'd you end up in the second race?
Were you talking to me?
Yeah, mate. Your Scruff, right?
You sort of half cut out on my end.
Oh,
But
yeah.
I just heard. Who's dead last on track?
Oh.
Just behind
What about
you.
first race?
Oh, fucking nowhere.
Oh.
First one
You
was
let the
good.
team down, mate.
Yeah, well, I don't have my livery yet.
Toyota should be
I was
ahead of the
getting ready
Alphas,
to
I think.
yell at Foley for that, but I realised I was going to make
We'll
my-
have a livery
my
next
half
race. Been busy making his
Yeah.
LMP2 ones.
I'm gonna do a livery as well. I don't know what.
I'll do the half one, Scruff. I'll do it.
there's someone racing people can rip as well.
You'll see what I've got, and you'll go, fuck, I need that livery.
All right.
Is it possible maybe to get Brock to do some just some
He's pretty far
banters?
out. He's
Yeah.
pretty flat out.
I really.
Yeah, he charges for it.
Yeah, I was gonna
It
say
is
for the
time
series, though,
consuming.
like
It's very
Yeah,
time
it is.
consuming.
Yeah, no, I'm not saying that's a bad thing. Like, it's a pretty decent rate he charges.
Well, I could
But-
do them. I'd charge fucking 4 times as much, so I didn't have to do them.
Oh, who was it? You, Cameron, suggested maybe just make a chat channel in Discord, whoever can, about making liveries, so
Yeah.
anyone who's trying to make their own can, if they have any questions, they can ask.
yeah, have like a paint channel, painters channel, whatever you want to call it, where so people can share files and stuff for people that, you know, like say for Jaden, he's like, well, what do I need to, you know, paint my own vehicles and all that sort of stuff. So that's where, you know, you can share files for people and that sort of thing. And if you know, noobs have questions and stuff, people can help and that.
Like custom skins.
Yeah. Well,
so
that's
you know,
what,
if
that's
someone's
what
like,
it's
oh,
there for.
I've got Paint Shop or Photoshop, whatever. I want to draw a line. How do I draw? What tool do I use? Do I have to flatten an image?
Off topic again. Did someone ask if there's going to be Ribeiro Preto?
I did, yes.
Yes, there is going to be Ribeiro Preto.
Oh, yeah. Which one is it? Which
That is
one
outstanding.
Is it the one that goes to the right, or is it the one that goes like straight around the roundabout?
I did have it written down, but I don't. I'd have to
I think
test them again.
I think the 2010 one is the one that goes right, and it
No,
goes down to like past the Shell Servo.
That's 2012. The 2010 goes
Oh yeah,
straight through that roundabout
yeah,
section.
around the roundabout. That one's cancerous.
Racing at Salvador, Santa Cruz.
Salvador's actually. Salvador's
How many
actually
weeks
good
till the
street
next
circuit.
one, Lewis?
next week. For the next
Weekly.
yeah.
All right, I've got a week to make a skin.
Yeah,
Oh,
I
we're
know.
going to get this done in 5.5 seconds.
The first 5 rounds,
Hey.
4 or 5 rounds are all in 1 week because there's nothing on
Yep.
Mondays. So,
Gotcha.
and
Can
then Taruma's
can
around.
you? I was gonna say, can you share the link for the where all the base skins are again? I don't know.
Okay,
where
get going, guys. I'll talk to you later.
Have a good one.
Catch you, Stats.
Catch you
See
good.
mate.
Good race.
Peace.
See your disappointment.
Rip.
That's for not doing the
What was that?
Formula.
Disappointment?
Not Formula 3 showing up.
Mate, it was bad scheduling, all right? I'm going to disappoint you next week, too. I can't do a 2-hour GT3 race. It's Formula 1 on.
What were you watching freaking soccer, mate? I mean, come on. Championship or watch some men cry whenever the fucking wind changes direction?
Alright, I gotta get going. I gotta think of more excuses.
Alright, see you, mate.
Try harder.
I will.
Fuck off.
Thank you, Ryan.
You would have just caught that.
That was perfect.
It was.
It comes back. Fuck you.
I'd be happy with that.
Yeah.
I like that he came back just to yell at me.
I'm gonna have to go through and check all these tracks again because I really can't remember half the second ones.
You're not going to practice anyway.
I know Ibarra is one of them. Not the
That's a
reverse
good
one,
one.
just Ibarra, because I like that track.
It's a randomly named term 9.
And also, I think we're going to call turn 1 or turn 2 where those guys ended up in the stands. We're going to have to name it after whoever it was that ended up in the stands.
I like that idea.
Either that or it's the fucking L Racing.
No.
Like every single one in Brazil.
No, it's not. And Ibarra's not in Brazil, so that's alright.
We'll see that
I
way.
think Londrina was one of them. Salvador, Santa Cruz, Taruma, I believe, was one of them, I think.
You know what? Have you got that one through the hills and shit? Have you seen that track?
That one through them hills and
It's
shit.
very descriptive.
It's the only one. It's long as fuck, but it's through
There's
the
a
hills
hill and a track and it's
Oh,
got
Oh,
some
there's
shit.
trees, Dwayne.
There is a long one, or fairly long Brazilian track has.
Let's just do the Nürburgring while we're at it.
It's not that
Jesus.
long. It'll be about 2 minutes or something, or 1 minute 45 in these cars.
I'll find the name of this fucking
But
track.
people won't be able to race on it. It's too twisty.
Oh yeah,
What
you can't
about-
race in it, but it's fucking hilariously fun.
What about Virginia Short? I think because Virginia's is base content in the game, isn't it?
Nah, I want to
think-
keep it to the Brazilian tracks.
I think VIR might be the season pass only. I'm not sure though.
Pretty sure everyone in the group's got season.
No, I don't think so.
You'd be dumb not to because it's on sale at the moment.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, it's not
Look, even when we
expensive.
race at Adelaide every 5 minutes, you kind of need it.
Is Adelaide part of
I
that?
reckon.
Yeah, it is.
I reckon.
Oh.
I reckon Adelaide would be sick in these cars.
Nah, too long.
Too long.
Too long. Yeah.
Common problem.
The Brit pack.
I was just about to make a penis joke, and it was way more insulting to everyone here than yours.
No, Virginia's not. Virginia's not. It's not DLC content.
Fair enough.
Mendig was the track I was talking about.
Mendig Flugplatz.
Nah.
I love that shit.
Nah.
The long one or the short one?
All of
Oh,
it.
that long one through them trees. And shit.
Yeah.
What, the lunch life?
The short,
long-
the
the
short
long
one
loop.
on
11
the,
kilometers. No way.
the short one on the airfield
I'd
would
love
be
to
fine.
see it.
There's one at
Wait till we get a
6.1.
safety car and we have to do 3 laps.
Yeah, lovely.
I still say we should do one of these timed races at a drag strip.
Oh God.
Someone find a mod of Avis, like the track that's basically just two massive, great big
Oh
long
yeah,
straights
yeah, yeah,
connected
yeah.
by two
Avis,
hairpins.
that's fucking fun.
Who can slipstream the best?
Who doesn't blow their engine up?
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much.
Oh, I'm trying to find where these skins are.
You mean the base skins?
Yeah.
I think I'm gonna have
race
oh.
department. I'm in the forums.
Yeah, I normally just Google Automobilista skin templates and it comes up.
Yeah, so
Wasn't it? I think it was. Wasn't it posted on EEC or something? EEC had it up. What if we go files? Files. Custom skin.
Do you need the link,
Yeah.
Lewis,
Yeah. Just so I can put that up for people.
on Discord?
Discord, and I'll put it on Facebook as well.
I'll message it to you on Discord.
And then once you do that, and once I put that up, I'm going to bed.
That's all the templates for most cars.
Where is this?
Yeah, yeah, that's the one I was after.
Where is it? I am lost. I haven't seen it yet.
I messaged it to him, so it'll go up soon.
Oh, yeah.
Where are we? Custom skins. There you go.
There's a good video on YouTube of some guy that does one of the trophy trucks too, which helps.
Yeah, that's empty box. I think that's probably not the best. It's pretty basic in terms of.
I think
like,
that is the best one because it is basic. I've never learnt off another video other than that one.
I guess maybe just because I'm special, so it's fucking.
Well, there
So
you go.
yeah, that link there has all the pretty much just about every stock content stuff it has templates for. Obviously there are some that are missing, but pretty much all of them are there.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then for those that can't be stuff skinning, there is but want a livery, there are some about on race department. I know there's like a BTCC livery pack or something, so you could just look in there and rip them. I'm pretty sure that's what Gary did for his. And then those that were submitted for this round, and those that are done in future, I want as a baseline, you know the sponsor strip at the top of the window?
Yeah.
The banner.
Yeah, the banner. I want those coloured as whatever driver class they're in. I want it to be painted that colour.
So if it's Pro B blue.
Yeah.
Pro A's black. Pro Am's green.
Do you want it written on there as well? Like, so have, say, Pro B's blue,
I'd
blue with white writing?
Put the name of the driver in there.
Yep.
Yeah.
There is, I'll find a link as well for, or if you can, Google the standard font that I want used, which is, I think it's Helvetica STD, or standard, I think it's called. I'll just have to open it. I'll have to open up my Photoshop, but
I'm
it's
loading
the one.
up paint.
It's the one they use in V8 supercars, or they used.
Yeah.
And then all I want with names and numbers is on the front windshield, on the as you're looking at the car from the front, for the number to be on the left hand side, so opposite driver's side. Have a big number and the name. Oh no, don't have the name. Just have the big number and just.
Name will be in the banner.
Yeah, name will be in the banner. And,
do you want names on side windows or just front and rear window?
It's not necessary.
Okay.
I'm not very good at that, so I'm not sure.
All you got to do is just make sure you've got an alpha layer for Windows.
Yeah, I struggle with that shit.
Yeah.
So it's the window, because it's got to be put on the window, doesn't it?
Yeah, front window. But yeah,
and that banner is on the window as well.
Yeah. That's the easiest part to fix, to change.
Matt?
Yeah.
Shut up.
Do I need to update the LMP2 cars with that?
Oh, I thought you were going to mock me. My inability